Alright, I'm getting the cab ready for the lizard skin. I don't know if I'll get to actually paint it today because the weather's not looking too hot, but I'm going to do my best to prep. I've got all the wires marked, what they are, what they go to, and then what terminal they plug into, so I don't have to remember all that stuff. I got my little 12-volt junction there. It's super safe. I got all those marked, what goes where, and so I'm going to start taking all the wiring out, and then I'm going to take this pan out, which means I have to disconnect the linkage to the pedal on the bottom, and this just slides out. I then have to, something I want to do before we can spray, I need to roll over to the welder, and I want to make a triangle bracket from this plate to the firewall, just one good triangle gusset type deal. This plate that I made that goes to the dash has holes in it, so I can bolt that properly when I get ready to do that. But just to help with some additional flexing, I am gonna gusset this, do a little triangle, nothing crazy, but I do want to do that before I paint, so that's probably gonna be what I do once I get all this stuff out of here. Alright, I got everything out. Got my temp and my pressure gauge out, all the wires out. Got this plate out. I had to disconnect the cable from the carburetor end. So I'm going to leave the steering wheel in while I take the truck down to weld in my gusset here. And then take the steering wheel out so it's out of the way. Tape up the pedal assembly. I'm not going to take all that out. And get this thing ready for paint. I also have to take off the doors, which hurts my guts because of how much I've taken and put them on and lined them up and everything, but they're coming off and staying off for a while. Hopefully I'm going to go get them dustless blasted. Tell you what, I'm gonna mess around and get a 6-pack of abs crawling around putting tape everywhere. So I got tape in. I think I forgot to show that I welded in this bracket here for the brake pedal. I stiffened it up really well. I'm happy with that. It's got more welds on the other side. I just did some tacks on this side. And then I did some etch primer on that, and it's ready to go. And then I went ahead and started running tape around the edges of everything I want to tape off. With painter's drop, and I watched a few videos on putting in lizard skin that said to use this green tape, not the blue tape, because it's stronger. When you're pulling it up, it will be a whole lot easier to pull up your edges and everything. So I went with that advice and started green taping all over the place. So now I gotta use some of this painter's drop and start wrapping everything up, blowing the dirt off of all this stuff, and then I'm gonna scuff it up and we'll pretty much be ready to shoot. Alright, I got plastic everywhere and it is pretty much ready to go. I got the cab covered over, that way I can have the doorways open to get in either side and spray. After I scuff and clean the floors and everywhere else, I'll come back and add plastic here on the sides. And then I'm going to bring the tape over probably about 1/4 inch. And then I'll probably drape over the motor and the rest of the front of the cab just to be safe. Alright, I got everything scuffed and cleaned and ready to go. I got the transmission and all that covered up underneath. It's good to go. The only thing I want to do before I spray is a sound test just to see how loud the echoes and everything is, so we can get a comparison video at the end. So that was fun. Painting is always like super stressful to me, but also super fun, super satisfying. But that stuff is a mess. It makes a mess. Luckily it's water-based, so it's super easy to clean up, which is why I am soaking wet, because it's like washing a spoon to clean out that gun. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I'll show you guys what it looks like. We'll measure and see how deep we got. I think I sprayed it on too thick, but it's actually kind of hard to control that thing compared to like an HVLP gun. It's very hard to control how that thing sprays. Especially I don't have that good of a pressure regulator on the air compressor right now, so we'll see how it did. But if it is only 20 mil, because you're supposed to do 20 mil two 20 mil layers of each product, then it took about a half of the bucket to do it. I have 2-gallon buckets, so let's just stop talking and see what we actually got. Alright, it's obviously very textured. It said that the lower your pressure is, the less textured it'll be, and I was trying to go for less textured, but for some reason it wasn't spraying when I lowered my pressure down, so we'll see. I was trying to keep it not as thick right on the tape, so the tape will come up, but we'll see how that goes. As far as how it looks, it makes the cab look like it's getting completed. It's all one color now. It was several different primer colors, plus scratched up and dirty and all that. And I do plan on, I think I want to come back on the floors and firewall and do some rhino liner or some raptor liner. We'll see. So anyway, I have my gauge here. Let's see. So technically, if I just stick it in, it is not touching 36 thou, which means it will need a second coat there. Let's see if I wipe it off. So we got, I think on the wall it's for sure thick. And it's not focusing, but if you can tell, it's not on the 40 thou, which means it's not too thick there, which, you know, I could literally check all over the cab. It's not 40 thou, so it's not quite thick enough yet, which is a good sign. It means I didn't spray on too thick, and also means I didn't buy too much paint, which is what I was more worried about. I did spray over these bolts that hold the cab down. They're tightened and ready to go. They were ready to be tightened down. Alright, so the back wall was almost a 40 thou, so I'll probably spray just barely any more on the back wall, and then I'll keep spraying. I'll spray another layer on the floor and on the roof and up under the dash to get that all coated and good. It's a good thing that it worked out that way. Usually with some products you want to have paint left over. You don't want to use all your paint, but in this instance you do want to use all your paint. The reason for me wanting to use all my paint is so that, because I'm not going to be using that this lizard skin on anything else, so it's just going to sit on the shelf and go to ruin, and it's way too expensive to sit on the shelf and go to ruin. And just, this is a sign that if one coat used half a bucket and it needs a second coat, that I didn't buy too much paint, which is a good thing. It means I didn't waste my money on too much paint, which is what I'm excited about. So I'm gonna let this dry. It's got to change to a consistent flat color, and then I can put on the second coat, and then that second coat has to sit for 24 hours until the next coat. Also, I was just saying how the oversprayer is really good and didn't get anywhere. And then I get done recording and look at the back of my phone and it's coated in lizard skin. So my phone is soundproof now. Alright, so it's pretty much dry now. There's a few heavy spots, but I'm not gonna focus on those when I spray them. I got some spots like right in there that I missed completely. And if I actually get my light, I can see like more areas where I missed. There's a few missing places on the ceiling. It wasn't spraying fine enough, I guess. Some under there. So I'm gonna make some more adjustments to the gun and get it spraying a little bit finer, and come back with coat number 2. Alright, coat 2 is down. I have just a little bit of paint left. If I shine my light, I am not seeing any primer showing. One thing that I'm liking is obviously these are thick coats of paint, but like my weld seam through there is kind of starting to get hidden. My weld seam down through here where I put in the new floor pans on the front half, that's kind of hidden. This square, you can still see the square, but it's a lot less noticeable. There's a square over there, you can still see it pretty much. But I actually am liking that, and it also seems to be taking pretty well to their, if you remember, is seam seal through there. There's some seam seal all through the edges and all over hidden random places, and it seems to be taking to it very well, which what I did use was paintable stuff. So I'm glad to see that that's working out. Alright, so I will make a note that I used almost all of the 2 gallons that I got of the sound control. That I used the square footage calculator that is on Lizard Skin's website, and if you use that calculator, as far as for my count, it was somewhere around that. It told me I needed somewhere around 4 gallons of each, so I would have had to buy double based on their recommendations, and I'm glad I didn't. I will say, if you're doing a cab that is similar to mine in size, that 2 gallons seems to be enough. I did actually have basically another bottle full as far as the actual spray gun. I could have filled it up one more time. So that's good to know, because I could come back with touch-ups if I wanted to, but I'm happy with where it's at. Obviously, when we come back on Monday, I'll let you guys know how much I use of the ceramic insulation. Alright, so it's been 2 days later, and something is on the paint or under it. I don't know if it's like a reaction to the primer underneath, or if it's rust. Can't be rust, right? Well, I can't really tell what it is, but I'm pretty positive it's not rust. One reason is because there wasn't rust in these areas. I think it's just something in the mixture. It's weird. What tells me it's not rust is there's some in the ceiling where there wasn't anything before. So I think it just has to do with maybe a color issue, or maybe some dirt in the gun or something like that, but I'm not sure. The first coat on everywhere, and it's already starting to dry up. I guess what all the spots are is water in the gun, from what I figured. Like maybe between cleaning it, I didn't dry it out enough, and there's just water in the gun. But this ceramic insulation, it's more airy and light, and it seems to be going through it more. Like I'm going to use more of it up. So the second coat, I'm going to really focus heavy on the roof and the back where the sun's going to be hitting down the most, and then also the firewall and toe board because of heat, and then if whatever I have left, we'll do floorboard because the heat is a huge thing here in Florida that I want to get as much of this covered up thick as I can. Alright, I used up every last bit of the ceramic insulation that I have. I keep getting heavy in that corner, but it looks like different shades or different sheens because it's already starting to dry. This stuff definitely dries faster than the sound control. It's been a day. It's looking really good. The last thing I'm going to do is I've got some more reptile product. I got Raptor liner. I use this stuff on the bottom of the cab and it seemed to do really well, so I'm going to use it in here just on the floorboards and the toe board. I'll probably go like maybe halfway up the firewall. I do plan on this truck having like a carpet kit or something, so I'm not too worried on how it looks. I'm going to get started spraying this stuff and then hopefully take the plastic off, and then I can give you guys a updated sound test. Alright, that's the first can. I used the white can You see how far it got? It's pretty good actually. I technically didn't have to spray right here because this will be under the seat, but the idea is that this will protect all the hard work I've put into the truck as I'm working on the truck, crawling around in here before there's a seat in. So I decided to spray it here anyway. So now I just got to get another can, finish this up, and then we got to wait 20 minutes so we can put on a second coat. Can number 3. Alright, so you could totally just use 3 cans to do this whole thing. I believe I only used 3 cans when I did the bottom of the cab as well. But I do have a 4th can, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. Raptor liner's on. It's looking good. But we should be good to start taking the plastic and mask off. Okay, that was satisfying. I wanted to show you guys what it looks like when I was pulling the tape off of these holes that I plugged. So there's one hole for the fender, and there's just a little thin, I say thin, pretty thick layer of lizard skin there. If I peel this tape off, it's that one stuck on the tape. On the other side, there's all pretty good sized plugs. But yeah, I just kind of run over it with my finger in it. That's fine. Reach inside there and peel it out, and we're good to go. You can see kind of how thick the layer. There's a double layer of metal under there because of the fender reinforcement. But next I'm going to pull off the big piece that I put in here. It is well covered. I made like this little handle thing in hopes that that might help pull it off. So I guess nothing to it but to do it. Yeah, that didn't really work. Hey, I think that pulled off pretty well. I also did wind up getting that piece off. Came off pretty clean. I was happy about that. I just got to get up under here, and then we got to see if I got any paint on my pedal. Here's another one I thought would be pretty interesting to see what happens. And before I pull it off, obviously you can see those holes are plugged. So I got to come back on the other side and push those through. Curious to see what this does. It's crazy. Cleaned up pretty good. There's still some places that will need clean up. There was a little spot where my tape started peeling back while I was in the painting process. There's a spot right there, a little bit up there that I know will get covered up. There's a spot right there on that doorway that needs to get cleaned off, but overall it's not too bad. I think it looks really well. Only concern that I have, and I'm really hoping it holds up, is right here along the edge, because it's just an abrupt edge, which I did that on purpose. I brought it off the corner on purpose because I knew if it was right here it would for sure get rubbed up on and destroyed. Hopefully it holds on good. I tried to scuff up the primer underneath so that it would hold down good. I'm gonna come back and do like some black paint along this edge just for now, hopefully to kind of seal it in and let that cure and hold together good. Plus I've got some places where, since I scuffed it, it's bare metal and I want to cover that up. So under here, under the pedal, that turned out good. I wound up just taping off that whole square there. I mean, my luck, based on math or something, this is where the most heat will come through or something, I don't know, but I didn't want to spray all that in all crazy. So, and same with that spot over there on that vent, but I think it turned out good. Alright, so the floor's a little wet, so I'm not going to beat on it too crazy, but my plan is to hit on the metal and just immediately compare it to the before sound so we can get some pretty good comparisons. That's me hitting the roof. Back of the cab. Hit up in the middle of the roof. I don't have a crazy microphone or anything, just what's built into the phone, but hopefully that's picking up how significantly different that is. But I don't think that the loudness, like, it's not as echoey. It's just rattling loose parts. Like that right there when I hit it. But the roof is a huge difference. Which in person, it all sounds the same, just when I hit the floor, it's rattling everything. Firewall. I mean, it's pretty significant. The only thing I can't test that I wish I could right now is how the heat control, or I should say the ceramic insulation works. The truck's not even near that point of like letting it run and seeing how hot it gets in here. And obviously I wasn't able to do a comparison, so I don't really have the ability to do that. Alright, I think we'll call that a wrap. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. It looks really well. And it'll help us move on to all the next stages and get this thing moving again. Next, I'll probably put all the wiring back together so that I can then redo the entire wiring. I want to start doing the official final wiring, start putting in the actual gas tank and fuel lines and all that good stuff, and then get the doors blasted and insulated as well. I also got to do the little trans tunnel thing. I'll probably do that separately, but yeah, super exciting to get this far ahead. It looks great, and the sound difference already just beating on it is really good. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and y'all take it easy.